Hello guys! Welcome back to the ARTZY CRAFTZY Sisters. So in this video, we're going to be showing you guys how to make pom-poms in two different ways. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Let's go.
Okay, so the things that you need are some yarn, a pair of scissors, and a fork. So let's get started. Okay, so the first technique I'm going to show you guys is how to make the pom-pom with just your hands. So for that, take your yarn, and I'm using this kind of peach colored yarn, and as you can see, it's not that thick as well. I recommend using a thicker yarn if you have that, but this was the only one I had, so I'm going to work with that. Now what you have to do is take the yarn and kind of wrap it around your fingers like this. I mean, this is one turn, this is the second turn, this is the third turn, and it kind of goes on. And the number of turns you have to make depends upon the thickness of the yarn. So if your yarn is thin like mine, you have to go for 100 to 120 turns. If your yarn is thick, then you only have to do 80 turns or so. So let's do it. Okay, so that's quite it. I've wrapped this yarn around my hands for maybe about 105 times or so, and now I'm going to stop it right here. So that's how it looks. Now I'm going to take a pair of scissors and kind of cut the yarn like right here, the rest of the yarn. Okay, so that's how it looks. Now I'm going to cut a piece of the same yarn, like that much. And what I'm going to do is going to kind of try to get this roll of yarn like a little bit away from my palm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of insert one end of this thread through the, like, you know, in between here like this, and I'm going to take the other end of the yarn and I'm going to put that through in between, you know, like in between here, and then I'm going to kind of tie it together. Okay, so now I'm going to get it out of my hands, like really slowly, and yes, there we go. That's how it looks. Now I'm going to make the knot a little bit more tight, like that. Now it's nice and tight. And also I'm going to tie another knot as well, so that it's nice and secure. I'm a little bit paranoid, that's why. Yep, nice and tight. And there we go, that's how it looks. Okay, so that's how it looks right now. Now what you have to do is take your scissors and kind of cut through all these loops. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so that's how our pom-pom looks right now, and as you can see, it's not that fluffy and poofy like you want it to be, but that's quite okay because you have one more step to do, and that is you have to trim it into the perfect shape that you want. So now what you have to do is kind of flatten it all up like I have done here already, and then kind of make it into a circular form and cut along the ends to make it perfect. So let's do it. Okay, so that's how it looks right now. I think that's nearly a circle. Whoops, fell down. So now I have to trim it again. Yes, you heard it right. You have to trim it again. Now I'm going to take another side. I'm going to trim it here. I'm going to flatten this pom-pom on another side, and I'm going to trim that part as well. Okay, so I'm going to flatten it up and trim it over here so that that also comes out as a circle. Okay, so I think that's quite it. So let's get rid of this mess. Okay. Oops. Now let's kind of fluff it up. Okay. Well, that's a good pom-pom. So if you want your pom-pom to look more perfect, you have to trim more. Or maybe wrap it around your hands more number of times so that it gets more fluffy and poofy. So now let's go into the next technique. Okay, so the second technique is making a pom-pom with a fork. At first glance, it might seem very ridiculous, but it kind of actually works. So you can make like miniature and small pom-poms with a fork. So let's start making it. Okay, so to start with, we're going to need our yarn, and I'm using this violet purple-ish yarn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the fork like this. It's the same technique that you used with your hands as well. But here you're going to get like small pom-poms, since these are smaller than your hands, right? So let's do it. So that's one turn. That's 2 turns, 3 turns, and it goes on. You have to do maybe 35 to 40 turns so that your pom-pom is nice and thick and fluffy. So let's do it. Okay, so that's how it looks right now. Now I'm going to cut it right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take the same yarn and I'm going to again cut a little piece. The yarn doesn't have to be super long. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this yarn from the back through this middle slit. So in you go, and yep, there we have it. Now let's take the other end and kind of get it through this middle slit again, like this. Now I'm going to tie it together. I'm going to do a double knot, that is, you go in one time and you go in a second time. There you have it, have a double knot. Oops. Now let's kind of tie it together. Like, it doesn't have to be super tightly tied. You've got to somehow bind it, like fix it together. Now kind of get it out. And now tie it tightly. So let's go. Okay, that's tied quite tight enough. Now let's tie it once more. I'm a little bit paranoid, so I'm going to tie it a little bit once more. Okay, make it as tight as possible. Okay. If I go more tighter than that, my yarn is going to break. Yes. So that's how it looks right now. Okay, so now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut through the loops like we did earlier. Well, so, you know, it's kind of the same technique that you used with your hands. Nothing really fancy. And one thing I should say, this pom-pom making gets a little bit messy when you get to that trimming part, so have something on your table like a paper, newspaper, whatever, because it's going to make a mess. So let's cut through all the loops. Okay, so now what you have to do is you've got to trim it like you did with the other pom-poms. So let's go ahead and trim it. First, you have to make it all flat like this. Now I'm going to trim it so that it kind of looks like a circle. Okay, so there we go. Now just kind of fluff it all up, give it a little shake, and that's it. If you still think the shape is not that perfect, you can always give it a little bit of trim. It's quite okay. It's totally your personal preference. And yeah, I think it looks so cute. Maybe you can make this pom-pom with like two colors. I mean, when you kind of wrap it, you can use two different colors of threads and kind of wrap it. So you're going to get a multicolored pom-pom. But this is what I did right now. I just want to show you guys some of the basic techniques. So that's it. I think it turned out quite good. So that's quite it. We hope you guys enjoyed our video, and if you did, be sure to leave us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell given right down this video so that you won't miss any of our further updates. And also, we really do appreciate your feedback, so please do leave them in the comments as well. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!